Yes, let's do it. All right, we are unmuted.
We have one in. Process, but I can't see.
Atomic.
And it never listens, no.
It's got all batteries in it.
We tried.
Change it out. Staples for $19.99, it looks the same with that little battery.
That's the one. Officially 5:30, sir.
Good job.
Okay, I'm going to call to order the City Council Successor Agency, Stanton Housing Authority, Special and Joint Regulatory Meeting here at the Stanton City Hall on Tuesday, May the 23rd. We will be going into closed session. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address us on the issues on the closed session items? Who received any correspondence?
Mr. Mayor, we have received no correspondence, no written communications, and no members of the public in the audience this evening.
Great, so that means let's go ahead and roll call.
I will now confirm a roll call vote. Council Agency Authority Member Taylor.
Here.
Council Agency Authority Member Torres.
Here.
Council Agency Authority Member Warren.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Mann. Here. And Mayor Chairman Schopper.
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, AC, you want to tell us what our closed session is all about?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight's closed session item is conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. This is pursuant to Government Code Section 5495619, subsection D1. There's one case, Tina Pacific Residents Association versus City of Stanton, filed in Orange County Superior Court.
Any comments? Okay, I'll adjourn to our closed session.
The council is adjourning to closed session at 5:31 p.m. We'll reconvene in closed session at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, we're going to reopen our regular scheduled city council meeting at this time. Would you report our closed session, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. There's nothing to report out.
Okay, roll call.
Council Agency Authority Member Taylor. Here. Council Agency Authority Member Torres. Can you report, please? Council Agency Authority Member Warren. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Mann. Here. And Mayor Chairman Schopper.
Here.
And just for record purposes, Council Agency Authority Member Torres is here.
At this time, if you'll please join us in our pledge, and Deputy Peavy, if you'll lead us tonight.
Ready? Begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deputy. Okay, we're now going into our first item, which is special presentations and awards. Item A presentation of certificate of recognition to Deputy Eric Peavy Orange County's top vehicle theft recovery officer for the year 2022. We will begin with the following document, if you'll please listen. This is to Deputy Eric Peavy, recipient of the Top Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year Award for 2022. The City Council of the City of Stanton, as the residents, do hereby officially commend and salute the dedication, courage, and bravery of Stanton's Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Eric Peavy, who was chosen by the Orange County Auto Theft Advisory Commission as the Top Vehicle Recovery Officer for the year 2022 for the most stolen vehicles recovered and arrest of vehicle theft suspects. It is fitting that we join in a celebration of these accomplishments and recognition of Deputy Eric Peavy for his unselfish devotion and commitment to protecting and serving the citizens of Stanton and Orange County. The City Council extends to him our sincerest appreciation for his invaluable contributions to the city, its residents, and wishing upon our appreciation the best wishes for continued success by myself as the mayor and my City Council colleagues. Signed this day of May the 23rd in the year 2023. Before we go into the presentation, or do we want to hear from the chief?
Chief, you'd like to make a please?
Okay, Chief, you're on, please.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, at this time I'd like to call Deputy Peavy come up here for me. I want to read just a few sentences here that was spoken to at the banquet, just for the outstanding accomplishments. The ATAC and the Auto Theft Task Force members, they unanimously agreed for the Orange County Top Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year for 2022. Deputy Peavy from Stanton Police Services, he was selected. He's responsible for the recovery of 41 vehicles, including 31 stolen vehicles that resulted in 31 vehicles thefts and their arrests. The total value exceeded $430,000. Deputy Peavy has worked diligently and has had a significant impact on the vehicle theft problem, not only in Stanton, but with the entire County of Orange. The plaque has been presented to the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and the plaque is going to be returned to the Stanton substation for the second time in 3 years, and remain at the substation for this next year. Just a special congratulations, with the city of Stanton. The call volumes are very high, and Deputy Peavy took it upon himself to, not just do the calls for service, not just be a TO, but to go after this type of theft. So like I said, on behalf of all of us, thank you so very much for your hard work and for your dedication. As you can see, the entire staff came today, and I think the most important people here, though, are his 2 sons and his wife. So they're in the audience. But on behalf of Don Barnes and the sheriff, with regards to the Stanton Police Station, Deputy, thank you.
Okay, if you'll join us in the front, let's go through.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Can't have it back.
No.
All right, we're gonna have have some photo ops here. So the next group will be the family. Come on up, family. Come on, Mom. Come on, boy. Let's go. Don't be shy. Right here next to your pop. Mom, you get right over there. Or picture, get right out. Let's go. Right. Okay, the next group, all your deputies, come on up, please. So, all you guys in the back row, we know we have a safe building, but come on up, let's go.
Are they gonna go up on the dial?
Yeah, behind us. Everybody up behind us on the dais. Whoever sits in the mayor's chair, you can have it. Let's go. It's your big chance. Hey, just put the chairs out of the way, guys. Behind. If you put the chairs behind you, just throw the chairs out of the way. And then move up. Okay, good. All right. Everybody in now? I think I'm gonna.
Perfect. Ready right here? 1, 2, 3. And we have more photos. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, you gotta realize that he got a lot of help from the gentleman standing behind us also. So it's kind of a team effort. But the leader of the team, we really want to thank you for a great job that you did. Just stay away from my car, we'll be okay. All right, now we have, I think, a local congressman. And we also have Supervisor Chippy, and I think there's some of them.
My name is Jesus from the Office of Supervisor Doug Chafee from the Orange County Board of Supervisors. And we wanted to congratulate you on being awarded the Orange County Top Vehicle Theft Recovery Officer of the Year for 2022. So thank you for going above and beyond and recovering residents' vehicles. As a victim of vehicle theft, I want to thank you personally for your hard work. So it's awesome.
Okay. Also, Maggie, if you want to say a couple of words on behalf of Congressman Correa, that would be awesome.
Well, we have to really thank you for all the work that you do in the community, making us feel safe and making Stanton a better place to be. I know that it is a small city, but it is very impacted, and we really appreciate all the work that you put into the city and into the residents and helping us to protect you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, again, we want to thank you on behalf of our entire community. And gentlemen, we want to thank you for the great job you're doing. Keep up the good work. Okay, if you don't have your Stanton pin, because I noticed you don't have it on, Mayor Pro Tem Alice is going to give all of you a Stanton pin. We have a ton of them, don't worry. Guys, gentlemen, please come up and get your pin from Alice. Come on, don't be shy. There are collector's items.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for your service. You are candy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your service.
Sure.
There you go. Thank you. Oh, I gotta go. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is no longer a safe area, but that's. Oh, I forgot Chief here. Okay, our next award goes to our city Public Works Department. This is National Public Works Week. I'm not going to sit here and read this because I'm just going to tell you how wonderful you are. We have such a few numbers, but we have such a big areas that we have to cover. We have more railroad tracks, I think, per capita than any other city in Orange County. We have Highway 39, and we also have Beach Boulevard, as I said, between two freeways. So our crew, not only on top of that, has to take care of all our park system, including our regional park that we have, and also all of those city properties. We do an excellent job. If you look around this county, you will see that we have less potholes and better surface streets than any city in Orange County. And all you gotta do is take a ride, that's where you prove it. On behalf of all of us here, we want to thank Mr. Rangel and Mr. Hans on you and the rest of the staff at the yard. You guys do an awesome job. And I don't know what we would do without you. When we get something backed up, you take care of it. You keep all of our drainage canals open. And I know that you spend a lot of time picking up messes. And I really appreciate that. I know we all do. Because we are very proud of what our city looks like. So again, we're giving this proclamation. Mr. Hansu Yu is going to come up and receive it on behalf of the entire Public Works Department. I wish that to let everybody know, Mr. Rangel, let everybody know in that department how much we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We appreciate the support, and we're here to make the city a better functioning community so we can help them out and help everybody in the community. Thank you.
All right, come on up. Let's go, gang.
I wasn't going to force him to take a photo. Shift this a little bit.
Okay, move this way.
Thank you.
How's that?
Perfect. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
3. And then Sean, your cheeky stuff is also let's present a little bit.
Okay, great.
Let me give you the mic.
Again, my name is Jesus from the Office of Supervisor Doug Shaky from the Orange County Board of Supervisors. And on this week of National Public Works, we want to congratulate you and thank you for everything that you do for the city of Stanton. So like the mayor mentioned, it goes from parks, facilities, streets, everything that you do. Sometimes it goes unnoticed by residents, but at the county and at the city level, we all know the hard work you guys do. So thank you for everything.
One more. You're making.
Great certificate of recognition from the Office of Congressman Correa. We also thank you for all the work that you do connecting the cities, making everything function and structurally all over the place, helping the city become a better place. And thank you for all the work that was done in your department. Thank you so much.
One, two, thank you.
Getting shoes in.
Thanks
so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have a new requirement, the council just told me, if you're sitting, if the table's down there, you have to have your sitting dedicated next week. We'll give you we'll give you a month, please. Just kidding. Okay. Our next presentation is going to be from Townsend Public Affairs. This will be on both state and federal legislation report and update. Eric, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This lecture gets smaller and smaller. Good evening, thanks for having me. Eric O'Donnell, Townsend Public Affairs. I'm just giving you a very brief, legislative presentation today. We're going to start off in Sacramento with a little bit of a legislative calendar update. Last week on Friday was the major appropriations bill deadline in the first house. The day before on Thursday is the suspense file hearing. This is probably one of the most exciting days in the legislature, believe it or not. It's where several hundred bills get determined in a matter of a couple hours. It's a very political process, very fiscal process. Essentially, any bill that gets tagged as in the suspense file is a bill that has a significant cost to the state, something around the lines of $50,000 to $100,000 or more. Something that's not absorbable in the budget. So several of those bills get heard all at once and kind of get determined in back rooms and then announced. So about 221 bills in the Assembly were immediately shut down for the rest of the year. About 90 bills in the Senate were shut down. So over 300 bills kind of ceased to exist overnight in Sacramento. There's several thousand more, don't worry. There's plenty more. And then once we go into the second house, it will happen all over again. So June 2nd is the first House floor deadline, so every bill that did pass out of the appropriations committees now have to pass the floors of their own House by June 2nd. They switch sides, Assembly bills go to the Senate, Senate bills go to the Assembly, and we do it all over again before they go to the governor eventually. June 15th is the budget deadline that we've been working toward in recent years, including this year. I don't believe that deadline is going to be very important. The legislature will pass a budget by June 15th constitutionally in order to continue to get paid and work. But it's going to be a framework. It's going to be very bare bones. Not going to have a lot of information in it. We're going to see a lot more budget and trailer bills and other legislation throughout the rest of the year that will be determining exactly how we're spending our money and determining any policy going forward. The budget by the numbers, a couple weeks ago, the governor did release his May revise, which is the second step in the budget process after he released the January budget. Last time I was here, I spoke about the January budget that he did release. So the May revise is the updated version of that now that he has a more clear picture of the sales tax returns coming into the state. Not a huge change on the general fund or total budgeted amount, except that our shortfall of $22.5 billion did rise to $31.5 billion. This is something that we very much expected and counting on. In fact, the Legislative Analyst Office, which is the independent oversight research arm of the legislature actually thinks it's more closer to 34.5 billion rather than the 31 that the governor's using. And they do not believe there's a very high likelihood that we go forward with the plan as the governor has prescribed. They think that's going to get worse and that our existing budget is not going to be sufficient to cover all the shortfalls that we expect to have in the next couple of months here in California. As a reminder, our tax receipt collection deadline was pushed to October, which is complicating a lot of this information because there's still tens of billions of dollars of outstanding taxes to be collected because the tax deadline is no longer April like it is in most years. So that picture continues to be murky at best. When it comes to closing the shortfall, you might ask yourself, how are we going to spend? How are we going to get our way out of that 31.5 billion? It sounds like funny money, and in a lot of ways it is funny money because what I call this year is clever accounting, right? So we're not actually, taking 31.5 billion out of reserves or cutting 31.5 billion. What we're doing is a combination of borrowing from other accounts like special funds and the managed care tax or any other enterprise funds, borrowing short-term on those fund shifts. So this is an important one. This is shifting funds that were in the general fund to things like future bonds. Which signals that the governor is potentially supportive of future bonds in California, whether it be housing or climate change related, as well as shifting toward other accounts like the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which has its own funding source. Unspent fund reductions, so any money that was unspent in certain accounts is proposed to be clawed back. Nothing alarming in there yet for the city, but it's possible that those accounts continue to grow in terms of what they want to claw back. Funding delays, so a lot of the governor's budget for the last couple of years has been 3-5 years out. It's just 5-10 years out instead now. So delay it out, which saves us a couple $2 billion per year. And then our first proposal for drawing down on reserves. It's a very modest amount, 450 million compared to our total reserves of around 37 billion. But very importantly, this does not pull from the rainy day fund or any of our major savings accounts. So right now, the governor's budget does not dip into our savings. When it comes to other state updates, the most timely one I wanted to quickly mention was the governor's new proposal on permit streamlining. So the governor did release an executive order late last week that instructs various government agencies to form a task force to tackle major infrastructure projects that have been held up for several years, to figure out a way to do them quickly. So he's really focused lately on permit streamlining and getting the big projects that have been delayed out the door. Included in that is an 11-bill legislative package that's going to focus on CEQA reform and other environmental reform to limit the litigation delays that a lot of projects have from CEQA. Limit that timeline to 9 months, which is pretty ambitious, and see what they can do when it comes to these major infrastructure projects like the Delta Rivers project, Delta Tunnel project, which is one that he specifically mentioned, that's been tied up in litigation for a long time. It's possible that that gets freed up after one of these proposals.
But the dams on that bill.
The dams are going to be like Sites Reservoir and all that. Sites streamlining will be handled through other legislation that's happening right now, and it's part of the package necessarily, but nothing new has come out from last week on that. But yes, that is a priority as well.
Are the funds for that coming from the monies that we have previously dedicated to that, or are they coming from the new source?
In 2014, you passed Proposition 1 that funds a lot of storage accounts, and that has not gone out the door yet. So that money is still sitting there waiting to be spent on storage projects like sites. So that money is already existing and is waiting. The last thing I'll say about the permanent streamlining is the governor did mention that we have done this in the past in the legislature in California for big projects like sports arenas and other major economic drivers, but not necessarily for infrastructure projects. So he wants to use that same energy around infrastructure projects going forward, which does not, importantly, does not include housing streamlining. When it comes to CEQA, kind of left that to the legislature, which theoretically will be looked at this year as well. Fentanyl bills, I told you earlier in the year that the theme this year in Sacramento has been fentanyl, Prop 47, and housing. That theme is rapidly deteriorating quick. When it comes to fentanyl, it's very difficult in Sacramento to get anything done on the fentanyl level. It's a very contentious issue and very much has some issues when it comes to adding to the penal code. But what I can say is the bills that are alive, which are very few now, really focus on tying in the parity with fentanyl with other drugs. So whatever the consequences are for, other Schedule I drugs like cocaine or heroin would now be also add fentanyl to that same list as opposed to increasing penalties that way, as well as looking at task force and studies of how to properly address this as opposed to any real policy changes on fentanyl right now. Prop 47 reform, I believe maybe one left, all of those bills have all died. This is another very contentious bill up in Sacramento, contentious topic, I should say. It's very much not popular right now to do a Prop 47 reform with everything going on, but it is something that the legislature continues to be energized about. It's just not something I anticipate happening this year. Housing legislation, as always, is not going anywhere in Sacramento, but there are conversations evolving. The biggest housing bill that we talked about last time was SB 423, which is the SB 35 streamlining that you're very familiar with, streamlining extension bill that removed the sunset date on that bill. SB 423 did. The latest amendments would put a sunset date back as 2036, a long time from now, but at least it is in there, which is a good thing for local governments to have a cap on when that streamlining can end, theoretically. There's also labor provisions that Senator Wiener was able to include in there from the state building trades, which could potentially make a lot of these projects more expensive if they do go through. So that's an issue that they're going to have to debate over in the Assembly when the bill does pass the Senate. When it comes to the federal level, switching gears really quickly, just a quick update on where we are with our community project funding, our earmarks. We submitted two, as you'll remember, the Dodson Park Community Center and the Public Safety Center rehabilitation. The Dodson Park Community Center was chosen by Senator Padilla to move forward as one of his priorities to the committee. We'll know in a couple of weeks if that is included in the actual bill in print, but it was included in this initial list to the committees that was submitted several weeks ago. And then the Public Safety Center rehabilitation was submitted by Congressman Correa. We're very grateful for that. To the House side committees on the Transportation, Housing, Urban Development committees, we should hear again in a week or so about where those, if that was included in the bill. Generally, if it's included in the bill in the last couple of years, it's gone all the way. So the next couple of weeks, we'll have a cautiously optimistic outlook of where we are if any of them are included in the appropriations committee bills in Washington, D.C. And then finally, just wanted to let the council know about a couple of grants that are in progress. I reported on a couple of these last time, but still working on a couple of land and water conservation fund grants for Stanton Central Park for tennis court rehabilitation and Dawson Park for splash pad rehabilitation, as well as a Safe Streets for All planning grant through the Department of Transportation, which came from the bipartisan infrastructure law money. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
What's the timeline for that land and water conservation fund grant that we applied for?
Due in a week, in a couple days, so maybe 9 days. I expect, it's not good news, but I expect that timeline to be quite long. I expect the state to take their time sitting on it, and then eventually it does have to be reconciled with the federal government as well. So I would not expect to hear back with a final from the government for, I would say, 9 to 10 months.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Sherry.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar can be taken in a single motion unless somebody has something that they would like to pull. Was there any request from the public?
Mr. Mayor, we have none, no written and no members of the audience have requested one item.
Okay, I would like to pull G, E, and G. And I'll go ahead and move the balance.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mayor Schauber and a second by Councilmember Taylor to move the balance. I will now proceed with roll call vote. Council Agency Authority Member Torres?
Yes.
Council Agency Authority Member Taylor?
Yes.
Council Agency Authority Member Warren?
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Gann? Yes. And Mayor Chairman Schauber.
Thank you.
We'll now proceed to item 6E, which is the supplement to professional services agreement or contract extension with Townsend Public Affairs to provide legislative advocacy and grant writing services. Your questions, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Although this is on the consent calendar, I think it's important that we see how valuable that the Townsend Public Affairs has been to the city. Sometimes we look at the amount of money that we're paying and we wonder, are we really getting our value out of it? In this particular case, we have got it tenfold. The grants that they've been able to bring over the years to the city and the advice that we have received from both local government and federal and state has been very valuable to this community and to the board in making those decisions. So I just want to publicly thank Chris Townsend, who is the owner, Eric, who is our representative, on an outstanding job that they have done over the years. And knowing what a lot of times it costs to have lobbyists, they're very fair in what they charge the city of Staten Island in return. So Chris, Eric, if you let Chris know how I feel, I'm sure the rest of us feel the same way. And thank you very much for all the work you and your staff has done on behalf of our residents. I appreciate it. Yes, sure.
I know that prior to COVID, Townsend had a representative come and sit in our meetings so that they could best serve and meet the needs of whatever the department heads had. Do you know if it's still possible to do that? My understanding is that it wouldn't cost any more to have them come in and sit in the meetings? To our council meetings or department? No, department head meetings.
I wouldn't recommend having an external vendor sit through our department head meetings due to the subject matter of what we discuss. Our department directors are very well connected with Eric, and he can vouch for that. We go actively along, very proactive in reaching out to him, asking him questions, sending him updates that we get from DPA or other sources to ask, hey, are we competitive for this? What about this project? I would say that we are connected enough and that Eric is aware enough of our priorities and the council priorities to be effective.
Just making sure we use them to the greatest extent we can.
We are trying
in
to
all
do
the
so.
good ways.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve 9E. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
We have a motion by Mayor Schauber, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item passes. Mr. Mayor, we now move on to item 9G, which is selection of fireworks licenses for 2023. Your comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give you kind of an update. I know that Hannah sent out some information on the cooperation that we're getting from the vendor. I wanted to take it a step further just to let you know that I am actively trying to also find better ways to get the word out to the public because that was what we all wanted to do. So I think that our outreach to the Orange County professional firefighters is successful. They are going to be helping us put up the signs that we have on location to save our staff that cost. Also, as you know, the vendor has agreed to put up the signs or print the signs for us. So we'll be working on something that is, I think it was, like Carol said, it was less wordy and more to what we need to get that out. Also, I had a chance to talk to the vendor today. He told me that he is already locked down a lot of different venues on social media, but also there's this thing where something pops up, I don't know what you call it, and it's added to where the citizens and staff will be able to get this type of thing electronically. They will know about our responsibilities and use of fireworks. The other thing too is that he was very receptive to, I had asked him if he would put door hangers up. And so I'm trying to find a vendor to help that vendor to see if he would be willing to do that. He's considering putting out an educational piece on one side and a discount coupon on the other side with the locations of our two charities to help them in their sales. So I think your idea to really push this a little more has become very effective. And I think it will help us have a safer fourth as well. That being said, I'll go ahead and move on to the chief.
We have a motion by Mayor Schauber, a second by Councilmember Torres. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item 9G passes.
Thank you. All right, we have no public hearings, we have no unfinished business, we have no new business. At this time, any member of the public would like to address the council, the agency, housing, on any items within our jurisdiction are welcome to do so. Is there any request?
Mr. Mayor, we have no requests at this time.
Okay, is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Maggie, Ching. Okay, I'll go ahead and close public hearings. We have no written communications. Is there any matter of chair, council initiated business? Is there committee reports, council agency authority announcements? Go ahead, Alex, it's all yours.
So we had the 20th annual Stanton Car Show this past Saturday, the 20th. So thank you so much to all the council members who showed up. That was amazing to see you guys there. Of course, Orange County Sheriff's Department for their Humvee. That was a beautiful display. And then I know that the fire authority also stopped by with two of their vehicles. Thank you so much. Great success. We had about 100 cars at there, a lot of spectators, and it was just a really great event. And we have an amazing road show that definitely invested in the show.
The nice thing too, Alice, was, as you probably noted, is the number of vendors that we had there. We had our old friend, the same guy, he never, yeah, Mr. Yeah, he always gives out t-shirts, so that's good. And then we had CRR with their baby trash truck, which was nice. A couple of really nice vendors for food. And of course, John Borak, who was our, helped us with the music there. Used to be our manager of the PCTA. And Alice sold all the t-shirts before I could get one. So she did an outstanding job. Alice did a good job. Anyway, thank you guys for all being there and participating. Thank you, staff, for setting it all up. And you let your people know how great it went. It was absolutely perfect. There wasn't a flaw in it, so we appreciate that. And I would love to have that Hummer, but I can't. All right, moving on. This is anything for a future meeting. Okay, I have three. I said four. It's all kind of simple. I was very pleased to see an updated copy of our city ordinance. I would like to have those ordinances brought back to us again here for us to look at, and to look at ways in which we can better utilize them in making our city safe and protecting our city for which those ordinances are written, okay? And also take a look and see if there's anything that we might need to change or tweak to bring up to date. Our staff has done an outstanding job on all four of these ordinances. I'm really impressed with the way in which they are being written, but I think it's always good that we all have an understanding. One thing that I found, and I think you'll have to agree with me, it's always nice to have a law or an ordinance that protects the public, but if nobody does anything to enforce it, then the purpose is, why do you have it? And so I would like to have maybe a simple discussion on how we all feel about certain things, and if there's any direction that we need to go, so that we can use these in betterment of our community. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can clarify for staff's purpose as well, the four ordinances you're referencing are those related to shopping carts, street vending, homeless issues, including.
No. Shopping carts, vendor ordinance, vendors, loitering, and jaywalking. Thank you. Yeah, and we can't really discuss it, but we're losing too many people. So I know you can do it if you want, but I still think we need to take a look at it. Okay, items from the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have no items for tonight.
Okay, city manager.
Yes, good evening, honorable mayor and members of the council. We would just like to remind you that on Tuesday, June 6th, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., we'll be holding our Business Alliance meeting in the community room at City Hall. We've requested all RSVPs to be turned in by this Thursday, May 25th, and for any businesses or community members interested in participating, you can RSVP by emailing dpelt@stantonca.gov or call 714-890-4286. We'll be talking about major projects in the city, recent grand openings, resources for businesses, and public safety and quality of life initiatives. Thank you.
Before we go to the Orange County Sheriff Department report, I'd like to have Chief of the OCFA to come up and introduce yourself to our staff and my council, please. And tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at. Thank you.
Hear me? Perfect. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council. My name is Chris Speziak. I'm a fire captain. I'm assigned as the Division 7 admin under Fire Chief, Division Chief Steve Delman. Been with Orange County Fire Authority for 16 years, total 19 years in the fire service. And I'm happy to be here to assist in anything you guys need here in the city of Stanton.
Okay, before you go, Mayor Pro Tem is going to give you our stamp.
I know, right? There you go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And of course, you're from Grand Park, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ours is more original, as a station. Okay, now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the leader of that team that was here today and all of their full battle already, which was great. Go ahead, Chief.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Council, I first want to say before I go into the stats here for April, the team camaraderie that we saw tonight come here, I'm super proud of them. The fact that they wanted all to come to support their own. I had 4 different deputies. The kind of question is, so we actually can go. So I thought that was really, that's really cool. I want to thank the City Council for allowing me to be here. Like I said, it was cool to see his family, cool to see his little kids. That's a big award. The top cop in Orange County, not just the sheriffs, but that's all law enforcement. And he's from Stanton. So that's a really, really big deal. And I just want to kind of reiterate that, to the City Council, how, kind of how proud we are of him. And that is, the plaques up at the station. So thank you. All right, so for the month of April, Stanton deputies responded to 1,250 calls for service, and that's an average of 40 per day. I will not be assigned for calls for service. Deputies observed 341 violations of law, acted appropriately, with warning citations and several arrests. Deputies made 28 arrests, 13 felony bookings, 3 misdemeanor bookings, 10 warrant bookings, and two DUI bookings. They also issued 82 misdemeanor citations. That's up from last month by about 34. So that's a job well done. Our Stanton motor deputy also issued 207 traffic citations. Our gang, they also arrested 1 gang member for a total of 17 in the calendar year 2023. For the enforcement, Stanton deputies handled several calls. There was 1 homicide, there was 1 rape, 4 robberies, 19 felony assaults, 10 burglaries, 49 thefts, and 10 stolen vehicles. The Stanton investigators, they had a total of 74 cases. Currently, there's 40 open cases, and they closed 34. That's really, really good for two investigators who really just started about 3 weeks ago. It's very impressive. Our special enforcement team, they arrested 14, 4 felonies, 10 misdemeanors. They issued 14 citations and 6 for public nudity. They contacted 30 homeless individuals. They all declined services. They also contacted 30 probationers, 10 parolees, 30 prostitutes. They recovered 2 stolen vehicles and they seized 1 firearm. They also seized 9 grams of methamphetamine, 9 grams of fentanyl. So as you can see, extremely busy month. On top of that, they also trained some of our newer deputies. The 2 set deputies that we do have, they work very hard. Our 2 homeless liaison officers, as you guys know, they're doing fantastic. And they're all really excited to have you guys ride with them. Like I said, that's something that they're looking forward to. I think the first one's, I think it's going to ride. I think it's you, Mr. Taylor. And then, like I said, as soon as you guys send those emails, we'll get you the rest scheduled. Just an update on the station. The station we have, it's about 75% done. We have a couple flags going in. We have 2 murals going up. I just got today, I just got your guys' pictures, which will go, they're in the front lobby. And I've got some other things coming with regards to some different sayings for the station. The command staff of the Sheriff's Department will be out at the end of July. We're going to try to tour the month of June and as well as July. Firework presentation. I'm going to be doing a firework presentation next month to kind of cover, the different fireworks that, we are seeing, as well as some expectations, and then some of the enforcement kind of components of what we can and can't do. And then just let the public know, on the 4th of July, we will have a lot of representation here from the Sheriff's Department. That's ranged from the SWAT team to the bomb squad, to the Reserve Bureau, traffic enforcement. There's just going to be a ton of people out. And like I said, we'll cover more on what we can and can't do, and then the procedures when we do collect the fireworks, what that looks like. We will be fully staffed, and we're going to be bringing in some additional staff that's free of charge. But like I said, that's just part of the straight time. And the other bureaus are going to pay the overtime, which they're not going to be very happy with as soon as I tell them that. So we'll get to that later next month. Once we do get the event action plan, that'll be sent to the city manager, and like I said, I'm sure she'll share it with you on the staff that we do have out there. And then the last part is this: I'm currently working on two things. One, as soon as some of our deputies get off of training, I would like to bring them to a city council meeting for you guys to see them, kind of put a face to that. That's going to be part of the new, so they get off training is they're going to get a pen, they're going to get a hat, they're going to come to the meeting, and they'll get a note by me. Going to kind of set that new into motion, as well as working on a plaque right now for Deputy of the Year that hasn't been done in quite some time. There's no plaque for the station, and we're working on that. So those are just kind of two updates that we're going to be doing. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chief, I had a quick question. If you look at the no parking signs in our city, I believe they say call the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Yet when we have people call the Orange County Sheriff's Department, this dispatch doesn't respond to that. It's kind of like it's not our job. Would it be better for us to have them call the city code enforcement, okay, so that we do get some response? What do you think is best?
I like that idea better. I think that's a good thing. At the same time, if we send it to our dispatch that generates calls for service that I can monitor, if with regards to parking citations, if we don't have that, then we can't monitor that. But if that's something that, code enforcement, I don't think it's a bad thing either.
Why don't you and Mr. Ring work that out, whatever you'd like to do? It's kind of frustrating because the dispatch is kind of like, well, that's not really our thing. And that's not what the guy that has a car parked in his driveway or in front of it wants to hear, especially since it says, call the Orange County Sheriff's Department for parking. I think whatever we can do to make that easier on the people that need help, I think that would be good. Okay.
So that's right.
And then, as you probably are aware of, we've had 2 cancellations of the first responder luncheon. Okay, well, it's not going to get canceled anymore because I'm doing it. So I'm going to be sponsoring that. So if you get together with Xenia and find out what's a good date for all the principals, and then I will guarantee you that we will have it.
Sure.
And then everybody's coming to that. But I'm not going to wait for somebody else. I'll be taking care of that. Okay, sure. Thank you. Long overdue. Anything else? Okay. Can I? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I got to yell at that because I forgot to say how wonderful 3 of our staff members are. Oh, they already know they're wonderful. So I would like to thank our city clerk, our city attorney, and our city manager because they said they were going to beat me up if I didn't. Anyway, thank you very much.